Both North and South agreed to stop broadcasting propaganda at each other.
Would you envision a convergence of the two systems?
I would also like your personal assessment of Kim Jong-il.
Welcome, everybody. Delighted that everyone could join us. It's a pleasure to have everyone here for the 8th Gatekeeper Editors trip that the IRP has run since 2000.
It's a very long, strenuous schedule, so conserve your strength.
Korea, it kind of marries all these things that we're worried about now, you know, kind of how to deal with nuclear powers, how to make former enemies into friends.
It's a country that's in the news, but not very well covered or understood. And so I'm excited to be going to learn as much as I possibly can.
As you can see, as we move up through this area, everything is heavily defended. The defensive belts and the barbed wire and everything else is very, very extensive through here. Area is also extensively mined. Do not walk off the roads. It would be bad.
And you'll see here the number of active guard posts today, 270 in the north side, 77 in the south. We've reduced the number of guard posts because we do have better means of electronic surveillance available to us.
When you go up there, you'll see guard posts with people looking at you through the binoculars. They try to identify me, and so we play little games. Like, for instance, they'll come out and put the binos and try to take a picture, and as they get ready to put the camera up, I'll go like this, or, you know, turn around.
Yes, sir. That building directly opposite there is Panmunjom, which is the KPA's equivalent of my office, and they also use that as a visitor welcoming center. The military demarcation line is the concrete slab outside. It's further denoted here by this line of microphones that goes down the center of the table and continues out behind me onto this concrete slab again.
I'm actually standing right now in North Korea, about 5 steps away from South Korea.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, can you explain, when you get a minute, why he's facing the wall there?
He's standing half exposed behind there to provide less of a target if he were fired upon. Ladies and gentlemen, right now we are at the bridge of no return. If you'll let our security escorts get ahead of us. The last Americans to cross this bridge were Commander Bucher and the crew of the USS Pueblo, who were returned through here in 1968 after spending 11 months in captivity in the north.
So this morning we are going to Dr. Steve Linton's office, the director of the Eugene Bell Foundation. Right?
We manage assistance to 40 different institutions in North Korea on an ongoing basis from this office here. If you have a system and it goes broke, this is what happens. The medical profession gets into some very creative coping mechanisms. This is a doctor growing cotton for bandages. A lot of these instruments are handmade. One of the things you hate to hear about is the fact that people are often waking up in the middle of surgery.
These people are in such desperate situation, the way you've described it. How does this society and this regime sustain itself and stay in power?
North Korea is a society that sees itself under siege. If you went to a general and you said, you should be requisitioning more medical supplies instead of ammunition during a siege, he would look at you like you were crazy.
It's really the first time we've sort of seen past the border. We've been hearing a lot about it, but to see the pictures of how people live in terms of how their healthcare is organized, it's, I think, very sobering.
you have a book that, you know, explicitly says North Korea in big letters on cover. Not a good idea to, you know, try to just bring that in.
That probably won't make it. Yeah.
That probably won't make it.
Or this one may not either.
Not either. No, that's pretty clear. Definitely, the news publications will be taken away.
Roll them out, right?
We have actually just passed the civilian military borderline. So basically, we are now in a restricted military area. This is what we see. The wall, the fortress right in front of us is the southern limit line. In front of us, we actually see we are being escorted by a vehicle that is a North Korean military vehicle.
The first thing that you see when you come into North Korea from that vantage point is you see a giant train station that is essentially not in operation.
It almost felt like looking at a geography book from back in the 1950s in black and white and looking at a culture that you don't know much at all about.
It was one of those times when you learned a lot simply by observing and watching.
It says, we will completely destroy American invaders.
That's the actual village of North Koreans over here. And, this is the real deal. On this side, we've got, I don't know what the population is, but it looks kind of bleak to me. It looks like a sort of what I would expect.
Why do they let us in with our microphones? I mean, we're not supposed to be doing any taping outside our kind of green zone in you know, this kind of wasabi-colored fence that they have in North Korea. Yet at the same time, we can see out there.
I didn't enjoy looking out through the fence at the Korean village that's right outside the fence, probably in much better shape than most Korean villages because it is within sight of foreigners.
We always travel in convoys. We always travel with 16 or 17 different buses. We've been with this mass of humanity that's very much designed that way by the North Korean authorities to keep everything under control at all times.
I think I'm seeing this through the lens of my previous experience in the Soviet Union and in Russia. The separation of foreigners is something that was very common in the Soviet Union. The privileges given to them, the privileges given to the local people who worked with the foreigners, all that's very corrosive of the society, I think.
Lots and lots of company here. It's not a quiet walk in the woods. Very popular place.
The great leader, our comrade, Kim Il-sung comrade, Manse. It's like hail to our great leader, Kim Il-sung. That's what it says in the wall, the big stone.
It was, in many ways, sort of a fantasy land to me. I saw things that I think represent probably the best of North Korea. Tremendous acrobatic show, fantastic national parks.
And the North Korean women are also into karaoke, even though their selections of songs is severely limited by their dear leader. And to see them sing so passionately and know not very much about the outside world is very touching and moving and sad.
There are still a few places left in the world that are really different, and this being one of them.
We're now crossing the military demarcation line. We are now back in South Korea.
In the past, you've expressed the hope that the relationship between the two Koreas would possibly evolve into a confederation between the two states.
통일은 전쟁에 의한 통일도 아니고 독일과 같은 흡수 통일도 아니고 강제적 통일로 나간다. 이런 것이 남북 간의 합의가 되었습니다.
This was a real thrill to hear Kim Jae-jung, who is one of the few political leaders in East Asia who was a real founding father of democracy.
Hi everyone, as you know, we're going to Seoul National University. We're going to meet with students there from both Seoul National University and Korea University for a student roundtable. So we've been doing trips like this for 8 years, and we always try to meet university students in every country that we go to.
I really don't know why we need unification. I think our economy will collapse, and well, maybe it's because I'm majoring in business, but
U.S. Army, why they are in Korea? Many of activists talk about that, why they are now in Korea.
Would unification, if it were to happen, become essentially the extension of the South Korean system to the north, or would you envision a convergence of the two systems?
This is a personal opinion. I would like to see North Korea enter the international society, as they call it, on their own terms. I don't want to see it like the Eastern European countries, you know, the shock therapy of entering or intervening with capitalism.
This was just very refreshing, and we got some, I think, the most honest voices probably we've heard on this whole trip in here.
Is this the single biggest church then in Seoul or in Korea?
이게 한국에서 제일 규모로. Yes. She understands that this is the world's largest church. As of today, the official number of their members of Yeouido Full Gospel Church is 750,000.
At first, welcome to Samsung Electronics Suwon Complex, the birthplace of Samsung Electronics.
We hit $85 billion last year, but in fact, we're going to get $100 billion this year.
Including 8 speakers, it costs $100,000 now.
There goes my Christmas present.
The guy's English wasn't real good, but apparently they're kindergarten teachers. They all teach kids 7 years or younger. They're seeking a pay raise. So.
잠깐 그렇게 주시죠. 앞으로 들으시게.
Please take 10월에 핵실험이 있은 다음부터 사실 남북 관계는 굉장히 어려운 시기를 보냈습니다. 아직도 우리에게 필요한 것은 역시 서로의 이해, mutual understanding이 아주 대단히 중요한 하나의 과정이라고 생각합니다.
I really want to compliment the International Reporting Project for coming up with a conceptualization that I think really was able to kind of synthesize into a short period of time an incredible range of people.
I mean, I can think of 3 or 4 ideas I'm going to talk about with our correspondent that covers Seoul later today, that I can feed him some stuff on, that I can give him some ideas.
As everybody on this trip knows, as everybody who funded this trip knows, budgets are being cut drastically in international news. How else am I going to be able to get to experience, you know, whatever, 10, 11, 12 days here, have the access that I did, the transportation that we had, and focus on the people and the journalism? It's not going to happen, I can tell you that.